Hello, everyone. This is Gorilla Peace, and this is episode 3. We're going to talk about gorilla experiments and gorilla intelligence this episode. My name is Ashley, and this is Fatima. Hello.
Hi. We'll be talking about some famous gorilla experiments that have been done in the past. I think the most famous one being the Coco and Michael experiment that lasted almost
Yeah,
3 decades.
yeah, definitely. And the research is done since Coco was raised by Penny. What's her last name? I should really know. Um, Yeah,
And
it's just said well, the project is called Project Coco, and then Michael came along a bit later as well. And so
Francine Patterson, sorry, that's her name, Dr. Francine Patterson.
yeah. Usually people know her as Penny because that's usually how she interacts with Coco as well.
Yeah.
And her experience has been made into books and documentaries and known by the public.
So everyone is aware of Coco. I think she became hugely famous in the early 2000s. She had a video with Robin Williams and um, other TV hosts met with her as well, I think, and she showed up on TV multiple times. So people became familiar with this um, gorilla who was able to talk. and
Yeah.
Francine Penny basically taught Coco over 1,000 words
Hmm.
in sign language, and she was also able to understand spoken English.
Yeah.
Um, Fascinating gorilla. She self-recognized herself. She had a pet named Allball, little kitten,
Yeah.
and
And then
we
she had various more kittens and I think a dog too. But I think she had more cats in the later on too.
yeah. So she was very intelligent, and many people wanted to know more about her. And she was described as a very gentle and soft hearted individual. And she unfortunately passed away at the age of 46, but
Yeah.
46, 47, 47.
It's 47. But
It was 46 actually.
yeah, so she's said to have a IQ between 75 and 95 and could understand more than 2,000 words spoken English. And what I found fascinating, very fascinating, was that so she actually had better sign language skills than a lot of her what are they called, like zookeepers kind of, because aside from Penny there's also other people taking care of her for like daily for food and everything else. Yeah, and so sometimes they, because usually you're trained to interact with a gorilla and you're trained to interact with like animal, right?
Yeah.
But Coco understood sign language and she communicated with sign language. She could also understand English, but a lot of the zookeepers doesn't have as much sign language knowledge than like compared to Coco. They would learn it before they meet Coco, but once they're actually interacting with her, they tend to not be paying attention to sign language, because if you didn't grow up into it, then you kind of like you'll understand when someone is signing with you, but you wouldn't pay attention that they are signing. So
Mhm.
like Coco will like tap them or grab them and to tell them something. And then sometimes she would even teach these zookeepers to, like she would teach them words like what they mean, even though they, like she can't pronunciate them. Like she would explain like this gesture means that, like she would explain it to them, like she would even teach it. She even taught, like I believe,
Her dolls, I
her
think.
dolls, yeah, her dolls, and also Michael, like when they are together they also sign. um uh Definitely for her it was like a really like comfortable means of communication. Yeah, and she was able to create her own words, combine her own words as well, so that was another like strong sign of intelligence.
Yeah, she was able to draw and paint, and I think she even laughed at her own jokes.
Yeah, yeah, she
So
laughs at jokes, yeah, when she understands them. Yeah. And Michael as well. Michael was really famous for his paintings of the like the zoo enclosure, the little like his home, and also the kittens as well. And yeah, did you see the paintings Coco did after his kitten passed away? That was a really sad one.
Michael or Coco?
Coco, I think Coco. And there
Um,
was another painting of I don't remember if it's Coco or Michael, but they painted like the I think it was a Dalmatian or something they had, like a dog they had at that place as well.
hmm.
Yeah.
I know that Coco would get like she understood that the end of life, like she understood about death and other organisms and other people, but I don't. And I think that to some extent she also understood her own death, like would come
Yeah.
as well. But they did say that she would react agitated when confronted with that truth. So
Yeah.
she did not like talking about her own death.
Yeah. And sorry, one sec.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't think any of us want to talk about that very well.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of death, I remember there was once where when they they asked Michael the question like what happened to his mother, and then Michael was really sad about it. And he remembers that what like he remembers from his childhood, very faint memory, but he remember his mom falling off of a tree and he heard like a really loud bang sound. That's what he described. We can put like the video on the side probably. um he remembers a bang sound and then his mother falling from the tree. So that's like a very vivid description of the people killing his mom for bushmeat probably.
Yeah.
And he just described sad after that. And obviously as a small child losing his mother, that's definitely something that you would like struggle with. And aside from his mom, I think he was also abandoned by the group, not necessarily like because they wanted to abandon him, but because I think most of them were slaughtered.
Yeah, I think there was a problem of poaching.
Yeah, that's why he was put to adoption.
And
And
he learned sign language later, so his vocabulary wasn't as developed as Coco's. I think that he knew about 600 words with a little bit of broken English
yeah,
intermixed.
it was I think he started learning was he was 2, right? Or like he
I think it
was
was three.
3?
Yeah.
3, but like Coco was much larger. Like, I'm sorry, much earlier.
Yeah. He was
Um,
very
yeah,
young.
Coco was like when she was a child, and yeah, and I think Penny was surprised too because they were never able to get into the mind of a male gorilla, which, especially as we talked about last episode, they have this like really strong masculine and sometimes savagery imagery in the media. So she was really interested in what Michael would have to say and also the way he interacts with people. And it turns out that he wasn't that, he was pretty gentle too. What a surprise. Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but compared to Michael, Coco just had so much more care for the world. She just seemed to want to take care of the baby, take care of the kittens, and then be friends with everyone, and then laugh together. And Michael, instead, it's more like more of an individual, and like obviously they're not in intelligence, they didn't have much of a difference. It's just that Coco had a better way of communicating.
Yeah. She was very I mean, I think she wanted to become a mother as well,
Hmm.
and that was really sad. Personally, just hearing that, I thought, oh my god, this is
Yeah, she
more.
wanted to be a mother so bad. I remember watching the documentary and she was selecting selecting her mate on the television because
Right.
she wouldn't mate for with Michael because that they grew up together kind of. So she felt more, I guess, more like a brotherly love from him.
Yeah.
So she wanted to choose her own mate, and Penny had like a TV, like pictures too. And then
Yeah.
she would recognize other gorillas and she would choose like which one is more handsome and which one she wanted. And what's his name? The one that's currently still alive as well. He's
I believe Dume,
uh Abdume. I think it's Abdume.
Nadume, Ndume,
Nadume?
male gorilla companion.
Yeah. I think it's
And she taught him
Ndum.
actually a little bit of sign language as well. With I think the most famous one being she pointed at something and said, "That's red."
Yeah. Ndume was chosen by Coco, but they didn't actually end up mating, which was sad for Coco. She wanted to be a mom so bad, but I think Penny was explaining that in captivity is actually very hard for gorillas to have children, to have offsprings because female gorillas are really picky. Do you remember from the class? Like literally we were saying like literally female gorillas they give like I don't know, they're really picky about their mates. They don't they don't they don't go down for broken men. Like they don't take whatever they can get like chimpanzees. It's kind of funny, but it's true. Literally, they're like they have high standards and they will look for a mate they want until like their lifetime. Like if they don't have a mate they want, they will just not
I
have
wonder if
offspring.
I wonder if the handsome gorilla from Japan, Shabani.
What interests Coco?
You know what I mean? I wonder if we like see this gorilla as being really handsome, if like other female gorillas also see him as handsome.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
That would be
Probably. I
interesting,
feel like if if he's even attracting humans, I'm sure there will be if the zookeepers ever show pictures of
right?
to other female gorillas, I'm sure some of them will be attracted. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you because if you see Ndume, like you see like he's actually pretty handsome. Compared to other gorillas. I can at the time I was like I can understand why Coco chose him. And that was funny because the YouTube comment said like Coco was doing Tinder before Tinder was invented.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Was he younger than her?
I think so. I think he's a couple years younger. Well,
He was a silverback too, right?
yeah. Let's see. Mm,
Interesting that she actually wanted to mate with, a partner of her choice, even in captivity. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
yeah, they really even in the wild they're really selective of their mates as well. But he's 39. Yeah, so he's a bit younger.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit younger, but yeah, but it was still fascinating that after he was already a young adult when he met Penny when they got transferred. So
Yeah,
um yeah, he was still able to learn like a significant amount of ASL.
interesting.
Mhm.
So I think that Coco and Michael were compared often to having the intelligence of young children.
Mhm.
And I think I think that this study was the longest interspecies communication study that has been done,
Yeah.
where we were able to really look inside the brain and thoughts of, and basically the mind of gorillas. And I'm actually surprised that it hasn't happened as frequently in chimpanzees as it did with gorillas. But I wonder if like the intelligence of chimpanzees is even higher if they're able to learn faster.
There has been a lot of studies
Oh, there
with
is.
done with the chimpanzees about their intelligence, but never similar to the case of Coco or Michael because
Yeah.
they don't develop as much of a close relationship to humans. actually, because like what we learned from chimpanzees, they're quite aggressive. They see you kind of like as a threat. Even if you make a friend, it's never really like Coco, where Penny was like her
Right.
best friend, and they could communicate with each other very well. I feel like that's like in the nature of gorillas, because if you notice, there's no there's no homicide. Well, is it homicide in gorillas? Well, not homicide. Was it called fanticide? Infanticide.
Infanticide does happen. It happens when the um, silverback disappears.
I think, yeah, but very rarely compared to where in chimpanzees, remember, that there might be infanticide even when they don't have food. Like that's like the case.
Yeah.
But for gorillas, they're actually much more of a family oriented. If you look at the silverbacks, or if you look at the
Yeah, they have
female
a
structure.
with
Yeah.
their families, and I think that they are more calmer. It's just again the misrepresentation that they hold, their bad name.
Hmm.
But yeah, Coco and Michael helped a lot with conservation efforts. It's still, I think that Coco's face is widely known as a way of understanding gorillas and also working towards um, saving their habitat and
Yeah.
allowing them to thrive again.
There is still the Coco Foundation, I believe. I looked it up a few weeks ago. They're teaching young kids about American Sign Language as a way of communication for both humans and to with other animals. I found it really fascinating because, um, like, obviously you'd think like, why didn't they teach sign language to other animals, other apes, especially for their studies? And then a lot of people have questioned the morality and the ethical issues that might happen with this. But I think for the case of Coco, especially, she was going to be raised in a zoo, and that wasn't like she wasn't going to be in the wild. It doesn't like she was definitely going to be in captivity, and the most important thing in captivity was to communicate with humans. And for Penny as well, her intention wasn't to just study her, but it's also for Coco to have a good life. So I think that's like very important. Yeah. And I do feel like, for some reason, I do feel like a lot of the chimpanzee studies have been even less ethical.
Yes.
um well, there has been, like, the ones where they like compute or like calculate numbers and stuff, and people have also questioned that if that's too easy for them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the reason they don't participate in the experiment, it doesn't mean necessarily that they don't understand it. It's more like they don't really have encouragement. Like, there's nothing for them to get if they complete the experiment. So
Yeah.
rather, Coco's was much more interesting because it's more like an observation of what she was capable of, instead of like a series of tests and like things, prompts for them to do. Yeah,
I it
and
was
yeah.
more intimate between Penny and Coco. It was a more intimate experiment. I don't think there was a lot of pressure for her to do certain things,
Yeah.
and that helped. I don't think actually that there's a single person out there that hates Coco. There's just no way, and I do recommend everyone to look her up because
Yeah.
she's just so amazing. You would
Yeah.
immediately fall in love with her, her personality, and her entire
Yeah.
being. Great.
You can you can look it up on YouTube, and there's also documentaries about it. Um yeah. Coco had so many cats, and she was very caring of the. Oh, another thing is that it's very rare for an animal to be the ability to have a pet is very rare. Just for any animal, and that was a astounding thing to find in the great apes as well. Because only with I forgot if it was psychology or intelligence, like only with like certain like empathy or something, that they can have a pet, because a pet is something literally like you're giving love, your love and resources to the pet, and they don't give anything to you,
necessarily.
especially a cat. I think I can tell that. Where's my cat going? Yeah, especially a cat. Like, other than that, they're cute. They don't really offer you anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, she did have really good communication skills. I think that it allowed her relationship, the uniqueness of her relationship with humans and with other animals, allowed us to relate to her to some extent as well.
Hmm.
We see so much human in her that really helps us, like, you know, sympathize with her. Basically, like, we understand her feelings and we can see her as an equal almost when we look at her behavior.
Yeah, definitely. And I just saw an article that Coco was really sad when she heard Robin Williams passed away.
Yeah, she was sad
And
when she found out.
yeah, so she could really understood. I mean, this kind of like her experiment gives insight to what other gorillas could understand as well. So it means that not only could Coco understand this, not only was Coco intelligent, it meant that a large amount of, well, large numbers of gorillas would have like the same feelings, even though they wouldn't be able to describe it like Coco do. So it was really fascinating.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
What
that's true.
else? Um,
I think that this is everything that we have about Coco and Michael and gorilla experiments.
mhm.
I hope it was knowledgeable. You can always look it up and watch more videos on Coco. I'm not sure if there's a lot of material on Michael, but Coco has definitely a lot of videos out there, especially on YouTube. So just check her out. I'm sure you will fall in love with her just like we did.
Yeah, definitely. The gorilla was it's they usually mention it as the gorilla talking to humans, but really we're the ones trying to talk to her. We're the ones trying to like know about their world instead of them knowing us. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
it's very interesting. It definitely proves how intelligent gorillas are, and yeah, and they react to situations sim- differently. And like, remember how we talked about they have like enclosures, because Coco has mentioned too that she prefers to be looked up on instead of looked down on. We would never be able to get this information from her if it wasn't for our communication with her. So still very fascinating experiment. So if you're interested, definitely look it up.
Very knowledgeable too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll discuss, I think it's gentle fathers next time.
Yes.
Um, so we'll discuss like some gorilla behavior in terms of silverbacks for
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Oh yeah, but yeah, Coco is like I guess the only, well, not the only except from Tarzan as we talked last episode, but Coco is a very strong like female gorilla image. And almost the only one people would like associate it with. Associate like this female gorilla image with. Yeah, but compared to what people think, female gorillas are not necessarily more gentle than male gorillas. Silverbacks are really caring fathers, and we'll be talking about that next episode.
yeah, so check us out.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye bye.